And welcome back, everyone, to another live stream from the Dangerous Rhetoric channel. I'm Brentley.
I'm Dan. What up?
And please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the show with your friends, make videos, clip it up, take us and turn us into memes. That'd be great.
Yeah, make fun of us.
And if you want to give us money, there will be little donation links in the description. We take Venmo, Cash App, crypto. You can DM me for crypto addresses.
Come on, guys. We need those gay reparations. Please help us out. I mean, you guys are always talking about representation and all this shit. You know, our allies, we're talking to you out there. You really want to help your gay friends? Support their goddamn businesses. So,
but
just saying,
tonight we are just hanging out. We're gonna have a bunch of different gay people from everywhere. We're just gonna chat about a bunch of stuff. We're gonna share some stories and give our opinions, and we're gonna sort of show that there is more gay culture out there that is not like the glad gays, the alphabet gays, the trying to trans your children gays. That is,
we're gonna shoot the shit about culture and show you that there are normal human beings who are gay.
Yes.
Whoa.
Miss Ava is here. Let me bring her in. Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Eva.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
And with that, we will kick it off. Everyone can introduce yourselves, beginning with Eva. Go.
Yeah, we'll start with Ava. Got some lesbian energy. Love it.
Is it Ava or Eva?
Eva.
Eva.
Yeah, so I'm Canada's preeminent lesbian, and I tweet sometimes.
You tweet sometimes.
Yes.
Controversially, rumor has it.
That's right.
Rumor has it you are a TERF. This is a.
Yep. They call me that. Yeah.
I see. And then, of course, we got Russell joining us again from Coffee Breath Conversations. Russell, what up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys and gal? Russell here from Canada as well, Western Canada, represent. And yeah, here to just talk with some base gays and lesbian, and let's change the culture. Let's get the groomers out of the gay culture, and let's return to some sense of reality and normalcy.
Saskatchewan's preeminent base homosexual.
Yes. I guess we'll pass it off to Michael, Gays Against Groomers, New York chapter. What's up, Michael?
Hi, it's official. I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing a YouTube. This is my first time on the internet. I'm a Martian when it comes to this. So, I don't do a lot of social media stuff. Yeah, I'm one of the co-founders for Gays Against Groomers. The second day it was up, I harassed the person who founded it to let me basically do stuff.
That's how you gotta do it. Just step up. Sometimes you gotta step up and just be like, "Hey, can I help?"
Yes, basically, I work. I do a lot of stuff for it. I wrote the website, which is all directly quoted in the press the next day, including the Post Millennial. I do press releases. I'm writing a formal public comment on a bill that the Biden administration is currently being passed on behalf of Gays Against Groomers. It will be public, and hopefully they'll reach out to us. They're not basing the actual their policies for child trans stuff on the actual research, and I got my hands on research from a bunch of other countries because I had connections for it, and I'm just writing a really long academic paper, a really long comment in the form of an academic paper, putting the actual evidence and putting the actual information out there, because I feel like we need to fight for the truth, and this is my shit. The chapter leader for Gays Against Groomers NYC, and we applied nonprofit status yesterday. Gays Against Groomers. I do spaces cool. 6-7 hours a week to talk to parents, talk to everyone, and just get what's going on. What is the problem? Because I don't really know what's going on with a lot of the stuff. I'm always learning new information. I'm they're doing what?
What is a space? Explain spaces to people who may not know what that is.
So, I'm sorry, boomers. I almost said groomers. Boomers is what you're saying, Brent. So explain it to boomers.
Just explain it.
All right. Sorry about that. On Twitter, you can kind of host. It's kind of like Zoom, but there's no videos or anything. It's just your profile. It's only on the app. It's only your profile picture, and a bunch of people can join. You can request to speak. Sometimes there's a ton of people in them. We have an average of 2,000 listeners per episode. We do an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3-4 times a week, just to talk to people and to get our ideas from them, parents, gays, teachers, etc. And we, it's really, really, really been working out well. So I do that. And right now, lastly, I want to put it out there that we are looking to collaborate with other groups, and that's a really important part. Someone told me yesterday, made a huge good point, that what people on the the gender movement has is a bunch of organizations kind of listed and affiliated with one another, even if they're a teeny tiny itty bitty organization. If you have an organization name that, oh, well, these people are sponsoring this thing or whatever. Basically, we want to get in the loop with a bunch of other organizations doing similar things, regardless of what kind of organizations they are. And I spent 3 hours scrolling and finding out who I'm reaching out to this weekend, yesterday. So I'm still going to do more tonight. If anyone has anyone listening or here has any ideas of groups to collaborate with, please send me a message and let me know. This is really important. My Twitter is @GAG_NYC. It's really nice to meet you.
Awesome. Yeah, we got your handle up there too. So it's right up there. Adam, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
Oh, not much. I'm the representation for Eastern Canada here. We have our Western Canadians over there, and I'm the Eastern Canadian nobody. I am literally nobody. But I
That's
tweet
not
stuff that
true.
makes people angry. So
I love the tweets that make people
Good enough.
angry, and those are the
It was
best.
your side of Canada that voted Trudeau in, so
Yeah.
well, I didn't personally. So
It's not our fault. It's not Alberta's fault. Never.
but it's not my fault either. I never voted for.
We have some latecomers. Hold on. Hello, ladies.
Yes, more lesbians.
Hey. Let us know if it gets a little too loud. We're outside because we're disgusting smokers. So.
Yeah.
We are in Manhattan.
You guys
I'm
sound
smoking
fine.
indoors. so-
And we have this.
I would, but my puppy dog's in there, so I can't quite do that.
Laura,
Just like lesbians, always showing up late.
Not me.
Laura, it's not a lesbian.
Yo, Melissa, what's poppin'? I didn't know you were joining tonight. What's poppin'?
What's going on?
What's popping? How
Laura,
you ladies doing?
We're good. Just hanging out on a beautiful California hot ass day.
Yeah, you guys are in the occupied lands of California.
Oh God. Yep. Don't even talk about it.
Are you northern, southern, eastern?
We're in Long Beach, so we're just south of Los Angeles. We're in LA County.
Ooh, you're right in there.
Coincidentally enough, we moved here because of the huge gay population. Coincidentally enough, we want to leave for the same reason.
That's
Understandable.
Man, does that say a lot?
Yeah.
That says everything.
And Mara is joining us from the Midwest. She is
Yeah.
in the middle of the country. So we've
Yes, I'm in Milwaukee, the middle of the USA.
we've got New York, we've got California, we've got it's weird.
We got the gays, we got the lesbians, and we got one straight person.
Yes, I want a hetero.
Very, one straight person who used to think they were a gay man.
Yes.
Yeah,
A while back.
a while back. But yeah, so let's jump into some shit, man. I think we got everyone here. Brent has a whole bunch of cool things lined up here that he's been gathering all day for us to talk about. Some of this stuff you guys have probably seen already on Twitter. Some of it you probably have not, but I don't know. Every day it feels like there's some new story coming out that makes me feel like things are just getting crazier, that maybe we live in a simulation or something, that there's some really bad writer just writing this shit.
Right?
I don't know what's going on, but
So let me see what happens if I bring it. So first thing I wanted to mention is this something that Richie on one of our last episodes told us. These one of the things they give, especially male to female trans people, trans young people, are called anti-androgens, and these are compounds that like sort of bind to testosterone and like wrap it up so that it can't actually do the things that it's supposed to. But these compounds cause psychosis and a whole host of other psychiatric conditions. So, like, this is like just so mind-blowing to me. Like, these are the chemicals that they're giving these people who are coming to them with problems with gender and maybe anxiety and depression. And it's like, you're just going to exacerbate their problem. Like, and then now they're talking about giving this to small children. So that's just something I wanted to jump off with, as, you know, this kind of story came across the desk this morning. 4-year-old announces, "I'm a boy."
oh yeah.
Transgender reveal at Pride Parade in Vancouver.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's my response.
Now viral footage captured the moment the young Charlie, with his grandmother by his side, released a confetti cannon that filled the area with blue smoke. So Charlie is a girl who I guess identifies as a boy.
Charlie is a 4-year-old who doesn't know what the fuck they want.
Yeah, they don't identify. The mom, pronounced it.
Well, it's like a cult ritual because remember, we're not supposed to have gender reveal parties anymore because that's really bad, right? But they can have a gender reveal for a 4-year-old that's decided to change to the opposite gender.
Yeah,
well,
but
the parents.
those parties aren't starting fires, Russell. Have you heard about this shit though? There are gender reveal parties like for babies that
Straight people are crazy.
have straight up started fires and like burned down
crazy
like
too.
It's a bit much. It's a bit
Some
much.
straight people are crazy too.
Yeah.
They get a little crazy with their babies.
Stop.
But this I just
The Munchausen.
Munchausen.
yeah,
That's
it's
what it
like
is.
it's the vegan cat
Yeah,
thing, right?
the
It's
Munchie
like, we all know who's making
So
this.
what is the new term now? Transhausen by proxy?
Transhausen by proxy.
That's
So
a term.
some of our listeners might not know that term, Brent. Maybe you want to explain a bit, like what is Munchausen by proxy?
Oh, that's just when you have like the mother is controlling and obsessive, and she makes her child sick so that she can control them. They can't go out because they're sick or whatever. There's a problem.
They want to
Yeah.
have attention, an attention grab.
But now it's like the Transhausen version is interesting because it not only really applies to mothers of trans kids, but also to mothers of like drag kids too, in my opinion. They're seemingly to do the same thing. There's one particular drag child out of Brooklyn, and there's also one up in Montreal too, if I'm not mistaken. He was the one that got caught in that picture with that queen who was basically naked.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you parents doing? Like, why?
You mean the
thinking
picture
this
of
is
the one
okay?
who was like tucking?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I've seen that. Yeah.
Are you referring to Desmond is Amazing? That kid?
Yes.
Be careful naming that kid too. Like that
Yeah.
kid's mom comes after everyone who talks about that.
It's very interesting because she was obsessed with like the Club Kid era
Mhm.
and RuPaul's Drag Race, and she let her kids sit up there with fucking Michael Alec, the party
We talked
monster, convicted murderer.
Yes, we've talked about this. It's just like,
interesting.
and to really emphasize just how crazy this is, people. Like imagine you idolized someone who in a drug-addled rage chopped up a body
Thank you.
and threw the pieces into the Hudson River, and then you let your kid go onto their YouTube channel and sit down with this person many years later and joke about drugs and things like that. Like, how do you even still have your child? I don't understand that. Like, what the hell is going on?
I guess everyone really does have a podcast these days.
Seriously. He's dead now, though, so whatever. But
Yeah, I think
Oh,
heroin.
he passed.
he passed
Okay.
away recently, yeah.
Yeah, drug overdose. Yeah. Did himself in. Karma catches up eventually. She gets you. But yeah, it was weird. He had this podcast for a while, and then I noticed that all of a sudden there's like this child on his podcast. I'm like, why is the kid on the podcast with the convicted murderer who's also a drug fiend? It boggles the mind.
But we can't call them groomers. Can't call them groomers.
We call them groomers, and we're the bullies, right?
Yeah.
It's like we want, these people are protected from using gay culture as sort of a device. I got she pulled. So his mother pulled a copyright takedown on one of my videos on my old channel because I showed a clip of him stripping on stage so I could critique it. And she was like, "Nope, that's my material." And I was like, "Honey, fair use." Like, no. And it got taken down for a
Well,
while.
what happens with that is YouTube will like lock the video for like 10 days or something, and she basically had to continue filing charges against Brent.
She had to actually open up a lawsuit.
So if she didn't open up any lawsuit and actually want to file any charges, then after 10 days they unlock the video, and that's what they did. But eventually Brent's channel got nuked anyway.
Yeah, they nuked that channel anyway because I called Joe Biden a sexual predator.
You just did it again, Brent.
Oh no.
Stick to more neutral terms like hair sniffer.
Like hairs. He just got done too, like telling everyone, like, all right, guys,
I know. Here's the things you can and can't say. I
Stuff you
didn't
can't
mention
say.
that though, but like that was, that's actually, I didn't really think about it. But anyway.
All right, yeah. Speaking of Munchausen, wasn't there this other story? Maybe you should go to that one next. But the one where the mom was like mimicking.
Oh
the
my
words.
gosh.
Oh my god, I
Yeah,
just saw that
that-
today. He's mouthing the word before
I
he's
saw
saying.
that too. Yes.
Bizarre and like right
And
on
if you
NBC.
needed any more indication that this is like a vegan cat,
So weird.
where she's rehearsed the child through it, and the child is doing this in every case because like they've learned that they get positive attention for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Kids
That's
like
all that it is. That is all a child wants from their parents or their caregivers. Like,
basketball.
To Kieran, who's transgender, it's not about racking up victories.
I don't want to win any trophies.
Pause really quick though.
It's just like
Here it
Yeah,
is.
pause really quick
transgender.
though. Like let's chew the media out on this one really quick because shame on NBC for this shit.
Yeah.
For reinforcing it, for running these
This
stories.
is, they've been doing this for
Shame on
years.
you.
They highlight anytime there's a child with gender dysphoria who's like talking about anything, the media just rushes to them, puts all the cameras in front of them, pretties them up, make sure that they had everything, puts them on
transgender
the morning
child.
talk show circuit, like the whole friggin' thing. It's like manufactured and it's blown up and exaggerated because this is what they want to
It's
push.
the nonchalantness of the language. Transgender child. Like,
Who is
this
transgender?
Like this is even a thing. You know what I mean? Like kids aren't born in the wrong body. No one's born in the wrong body. And this is a really, really fucked up thing to be reinforcing any kid to be thinking about themselves that they're born in the wrong body. Like
even to give them the idea that that's possible.
yeah, it blows
It's a
my mind.
religion. It's a religion.
Yeah,
It is
play
a
the rest of the
religion.
clip, Brent. 'cause
It's a
This,
cult.
this is,
Yeah.
it is really interesting the way she's like mimicking exactly.
Watch, look at her lips.
Winning.
What's it about?
Having fun
This is us.
with your friends for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
Kieran seems undeterred with a message now about her journey.
Never stop being you. That's it.
Never stop being you.
There's so many kids that don't even have the opportunity to express who they really are. We are acknowledging more people as who they are.
Oh
It's-
man,
She's
she's
not-
just
she's not
loving that
crying.
attention.
She's not even crying.
She is
Hard
loving that attention.
Hard shit
Wow.
right here.
Crocodile tears.
Hard.
Do you ever notice that a lot of the kids too? I mean, I don't know how old these kids are. I know like boys are a little behind girls and stuff, but a lot of these kids seem developmentally behind, to say the least. Like Desmond, especially, like just the way they talk, they can't speak properly. They're
So
being pulled out of school left and right to do press.
I think the parents are also like that too. A lot of them. I mean, when I look at this here, just the way she's handling this interview tells me this is all about her. It's very
yeah.
clearly
Oh, yeah.
all about her.
Here,
This is some attention she
Let's
never
take a
got.
second glance here.
I just see emotional immaturity here. I see someone who should not be a parent. I'm sorry. It
And
sounds
it's so affected. She's not actually tearing up even.
No,
She's
this
just
isn't
making a face.
your emotion at all.
yeah.
No. Like
I mean, her eyes look kind of glassy, but I don't know. I'm just not buying it. It seems faint.
I'm not
Some like
buying it.
Amber Heard level acting. right?
There's
That's what I'm saying,
there's
yeah.
not a single, there's no tears.
Doesn't this remind you guys though of, I don't know if you ever saw those the pageant moms, what is it, toddlers and tiaras, but like on steroids.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It is. It's disgusting. And I think displaying your kid, whether you're heterosexual, gay, whatever, is disgusting. They're using them for clout because they never amounted to shit in life. And so now they're using their kid in order to be like, oh, look what I have. My kid's better than yours, and I'm woke. It's sick.
Yep.
I've got a designer kid, so
I've
like
got
Custom kid.
Gucci child, my Gucci trans
I mean,
child.
pretty much what they're doing.
it is in the mainstream. It is vogue to be trans, and that is kind of what it seems like. It's hip for them to have.
Well,
a trans kid
I did see there was like a Twitter thread where it showed different children of celebrities, and it was like everyone. I can't remember them now. Angelina Jolie is one of them. but like they all have trans kids now.
Yeah.
Like all these.
Wasn't
Angelina's
Madonna
kid is
putting her
okay.
kid in a dress?
Yes.
It's like
Trans kids are the new Louis Vuitton purse. I swear.
Well, look, I'm
That's a clip. That's a clip.
I'm going to acknowledge the other side of it too, and the other parents going through this, say, who like aren't just jumping to affirm, but legitimately are having an experience right now where their kid is genuinely confused and lost and probably suicidal and things like that. And it's probably incredibly difficult for a lot of these parents. And I do sympathize with a lot of them. Doesn't mean I agree with them being pressured into affirming and like, I don't know, putting their kids on hormones and things like that. But I understand why some of them are pressured into it and feel like, man, this is what I have to do. Because it's like people around them are telling them this. And experts too, people who claim to be authorities on these things, on the mind and such, are saying, well, this is what you have to do for your kid to feel comfortable and to heal themselves, et cetera, et cetera. It's crazy, man. Like, I really do feel bad for a lot of the parents. I know they're not all crazy. I know some of them are, right? And they want that Louis Vuitton bag kid, or they think this is cool, so they're just doing it because it's the progressive woke thing to do. But I think a lot of them are just very torn and don't know what to do. And they're being led in these particular directions by people who they're supposed to be able to trust.
Yeah, most of the parents that I encounter, because I do consultation with parents from a detransitioner perspective, so I kind of try to give them some advice. And most of them that I've seen, they are kind of in a tough position because they started affirming, because most of them are just like, oh, wow, okay, like, I guess I have to go through the rituals, right? Like, go to the clinic, get the hormones, socially transition them, do the pronouns, whatever. So they start doing it. And then they start feeling like, this is like their problems are actually getting worse. The mental health problems are worse now. So then they start looking it up more. And then they sort of realize like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have been affirming this whole time. And now they're kind of stuck in the middle with this kid that like is maybe like 16, 15, and they want to like get surgery and they're using like the opposite sex pronouns or whatever. So they have to sort of like walk it back to of their choices, because they're of their ignorance, right? They didn't know. Most of them didn't know.
That's also probably confusing as hell for the kids too.
Yeah, and at school too, like they might be having different names and pronouns at school versus at home and with friends and online. Like most of the kids are super online. They're always being affirmed online. So it is really difficult for the parents.
Well, yeah, what the schools are doing is unconscionable. Like they're pushing it so hard, and then I can imagine, try as hard as you can to tell your kid at home what you think. If the teacher's saying something different, they'll just be like, oh, my mom doesn't know anything. At school they're telling me this, and it's ridiculous.
And a lot of states will take your kid away. So, I mean, they're also afraid of that.
Common California.
Yeah, they also in California, they have that new law. What is it? SB 107 from.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Scott Wiener, who most famously passed that legislation that's sort of like just decriminalized just a little bit some sort of sexual predator acts statutory reporting, made it a little bit easier for them to have a little bit more wiggle room with predators.
But get this part on that. So I reread up on the bill, and they've altered it since it first came out. So a 24-year-old, the bottom age is 14. A 24-year-old could have vaginal sex with a 14-year-old and be fine. But if it's anally, it's there's no age limit.
What?
No, there's no
as long as it's within 10 years of their age. So a 21-year-old can have anal sex with a 11-year-old.
What?
And it's different.
It's still,
which is making it worse for gay boys and gay men, because now it's more leniency for them to be able to do whatever they're going to do. No, seriously, like go back and read up on it, because they just altered it in June.
Because the way that I thought that I understood it, it was that it just sort of like made it that these things were still crimes, but that the judge had the discretion to put the person to not to leave the person off the mandatory sex offender registry. I don't know if they've changed it, and they probably have changed
Yes,
it. So.
that's the main point of it, but it's also giving the judge leeway to dismiss the case based on what the child's testimony is.
Oh, so if the child consented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, gross. It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
And this is what they argue, and this is how they do it. They and Scott Wiener, he's been a very vocal apologist for this whole, and he looks like a creepo.
Does he look like a wiener?
He looks
Why
like
is your last name always Wiener too?
I was just gonna say, sorry, Leeway Wiener.
It's too on the nose. Like it's just or maybe it's not the nose.
Exactly, girl.
Get it away from my nose, please.
I've never heard this guy. Doesn't he just look a little questionable?
Ugh.
If he, if you hired a babysitter and this guy showed up, would you be like,
oh my God,
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like now we're biased because we know he's a creep already, so we're just like gonna tend to.
Well, I mean, not even just that. He's also the person responsible for the fact that it's no longer a crime to knowingly transmit HIV to someone.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's
Correct. That's disgusting.
He pushed that bill, and now he's
Reduce
pushing this
stigma.
one. Where is it? I have it pulled up here, actually. Number 107. Here it is. Introduced by Senator Wiener. Yeah, I'm not really good at translating legal speak. This is something Mr. Josh from Disaffected Podcast would be good at because he used to do this professionally. But yeah, they do a lot of these like little word changes. Care or gender affirming mental health care.
Healthcare becomes.
But basically, the way that I understand this law is that if a child like runs away, or if like a parent has a disagreement with their spouse about the gender identity or the trans identity of the child, and they abscond with the child to California, California will totally respect that parent 100% of the time, no matter what, and also like any sort of a desire to have the local state, the original state's authority respected, they're just gonna be like, no, because we do gender affirming healthcare here, and you're a bigot.
Oh my God.
They're calling it like a sanctuary state for trans kids.
We take everything. We're a sanctuary state for everything. It's fucking crazy.
You stubbed your toe and you're now triggered by something that happened.
Come here.
Come here. We'll take
We're
you.
sanctuary state for.
Take my taxes. Take my taxes. You can have all my taxes.
You guys need to get out of there.
Yeah, for real. I've never even.
Believe me, we've been lucky.
It's like one of those borderline things where we love the state that we were born in, and we wish that it wouldn't be this way. But we really want to leave. But at the same time, it's like I want to stay and fight for my state.
So
we've got a lot of people here like that too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way here.
I'm from New Jersey. That's the general consensus of New Jersey among a lot of people in New Jersey, is that like we really fucking hate New Jersey, but we also really love New Jersey, and only we're allowed to talk shit about it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
We have the worst gun laws too there. Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
California, the East Coast.
It's absurd. Like where I'm from, like the city I'm from in Elizabeth, you have to write a letter explaining to the police chief why you need a firearm and why you feel you are threatened enough to need one.
Oh my God.
You fill out this whole application. You basically have to know someone to even get it. Like there's a whole nepotism with it. Fill out this whole application. You pay like $500 or some shit, and they can still reject you, and they usually do. That's the general consensus, is they just reject you.
Note to self: never look at real estate in New Jersey.
Yeah. So it's just like shit like that. And like even if you do have a gun, it's the kind of state where if your life isn't threatened and someone breaks into your house, you have to flee.
Yeah, I've heard that about New Jersey. Yep.
And your
It
property.
sounds worse than Canada.
It's ridiculous, dude. So if you do something and you hurt them, even if they're in your house, and say your life wasn't threatened, and you can't prove that, like you're gonna get.
How do you prove your life was threatened?
They have to have a weapon or something like that. I mean, like there are exceptions to that. Like say there's a disabled person in the house, like my mom, for example. I would be allowed to stay and defend them with lethal force just because she can't flee. So situations like that, there are nuance, but if you can flee, you're supposed to. You're not supposed to fight them, which is absurd.
That's ridiculous. The threat is that they're in your home. That's the threat.
Exactly.
Like, or they wouldn't be in there. Like they don't mean well.
Whereas like Florida, it's like castle laws. You know, someone's on your property. It's just you don't even need to know why they're there. If they're not supposed to be there and you feel threatened in any way and you shoot them, like you're usually protected as far as I know.
Texas, I hear it's purple fence posts is like the warning.
Really?
Like, don't come on my land. We will fucking shoot you.
So if they have a
It's
purple
the same like
fence,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Really?
My mom lives there, and if somebody steps on your property and you don't want them there, and you give them one warning, if they don't leave, you have every right to shoot them.
Yeah. The warning shot.
They don't you give them a warning shot. They don't turn around, you shoot them.
Just remember, the warning shot's the second shot.
That's the happy medium.
I feel like
I
there would be
just woke up
lots.
and me get my eyes on.
There'd be lots of things that you could permit between. You have to flee your own goddamn house that someone's breaking into, and you got your warning shot. The
Shoot on
second
sight,
one's
yeah.
between your eyes, right?
Hey, Texas is fucking Texas, man. It's the history of the land there. It's fuck around and find out.
I am to the point though where Brent, you agree with this too, where we're just kind of like fuck it, constitutional carry across the board. Like that's what I think it should be, because like look, we do already have gun laws. That is our gun law.
I go
gun law right there.
the step beyond that. I think the government should give us all a like $1,500 to $2,500 tax credit per year towards our, cultivation of our firearms, whether that's in purchase or ammo or training.
Hey, well regulated.
We're saving the police from having to come save us. So hey.
Yeah, well, they don't. That's the thing. It's like
No.
That your whole family will be dead in the time it'll take them to get there. It's just insane.
Before we went live, I was talking to Russell about this. We were discussing violence and just how fast violence happens. We watch movies and all this shit, but how many of us have really been in a real violent situation? Most people have not. So they're very quick to comment on it. I have.
Yeah.
Russell has. And it's just like, it happens so quickly. So freaking fast,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never seen a gun. Okay, in a museum, like behind the glass, like obviously I have, but like I've never seen one like in real, like just someone holding a gun. Isn't that like when I tell people this, who like they're just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
they're just
you're
like,
such a New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
Such a New Yorker. I've shot a few times. Brett has too.
Oh, Michael, that's okay. Come to California. I'm getting. I actually have my great grandfather's shotgun that he won in a turkey trot.
Nice.
I'll take you shooting.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a desire to do it, but if I was able to, I feel like I would, just because
Do it. Do it.
Oh, do it. Once you do it, you're gonna want to keep doing it.
You're gonna want to do it again. Yeah, it's a little scary at first, but I think everyone should experience it at least once, just to understand the real power of the tool that you're handling.
You guys sound like you're telling them to smoke weed or something.
It would definitely instill a sense of responsibility in more people. I think about guns and just an understanding about them if they fired one. I think it's really important, because when you do, the freaking difference. If you've ever fired a BB gun or a paintball gun or something like that, you do know the difference when you fire the real thing, and you're like, this is a serious tool, very powerful, something you don't fuck around with.
Yeah.
So I think just for that alone, to really have that sink in, most people should probably go out and do it at least once.
I also feel like more women need to be a little bit less afraid of it too, because it is the great equalizer for us as women. If I have a 6'3" man coming after me and I have a firearm, I still have a greater chance of getting out of that alive,
I agree.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me.
I also think it should be a mandatory high school curriculum class.
Yeah, to just learn how to basic shoot. I mean,
learn the basics of it and learn to respect it, because I feel like a lot of gun violence would actually be off of the streets, because you'd have more knowledge on how to use them properly, and knowing how to use it properly, more people would be afraid of you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, for the longest time in Canada, and I believe in the States, high schools had firearms clubs.
Yes.
I know for a fact in Canada for the longest time,
Really?
it wasn't uncommon for students to set up in the basement area, and they would do practice shooting with rifles and things like that, and that was considered normal. And now these days that would be considered an absolute abomination. When I think what is happening is like teenagers, especially teenage boys, they're playing Call of Duty and they're playing Fortnite, and they have this idea of what firearms are like, and it's not really how it is. And there is a big difference, and there is safety that needs to be involved with it. And you look at all the incidents of people that carry firearms in their homes, and their kid finds it and they end up blowing themselves away or blowing someone else away, and that because they're not taught that it's a powerful tool that has specific uses, and it's not to be just played around with.
Yeah, I agree. We need more gun education. That's what we need, because people are too afraid of it. They don't understand the tools. And this is kind of the way I look at it too with America, specifically the United States, is they're not going anywhere. You are never disarming the populace. The only way that is ever going to happen is through a bloody, violent, like civil war. It's just never going to happen. Guns are so ingrained into the very fabric of our country's history. They are not going anywhere. We are a gun culture, a gun civilization in many ways. First battle of the revolution was not fought over tea, was not fought over taxes. It was because they were like, bro, the British are coming. And the British weren't coming to take the tea or the taxes and all that shit. They were coming to get the firearms.
And now you can, basically print your own at home.
Yes. But my point is, we need to accept that as a fact. And if we can accept that reality, then we can start figuring out solutions as a gun society to move forward. But the more we keep resisting that we are a gun society and a gun culture, and we keep trying to push back against it, regulate them, we're only allowing criminals to run rampant over everyone else. And we're making it more and more difficult for normal people to be able to defend themselves in a gun civilization.
I think we should just get rid of the police and pass legislation that empowers individuals to become vigilantes, and let people sort it out on their own. Because
so radical.
You had me the first time. Not gonna lie, you sounded like Ayanna Presley there for a few seconds.
We need Batman. Okay, the world needs Batman right now. Batman would stop all of this gender ideology.
Yes, he would.
Well, I don't know. Those tights were pretty tight.
Do you guys want to see?
Robin was kind of young too. I don't know.
Somebody
appropriate. Yeah.
Definitely gay then.
I have this little clip here of a gentleman appropriating gay culture.
Speaking of gender ideology,
in order to enrich himself and draw attention. I'm pretty sure he's actually straight, but hold on.
No, he's an artist.
Hold on, let me see. Pull it up. Where is it? Do we have Miss George?
What does that have to do with anything? Him being an artist?
Maybe it's just the character.
You said it. We were thinking.
Is when you say like.
Oh, no. I hate this guy.
They were roommates.
Oh God, no!
Oh no!
Oh no! This thing.
Yeah.
Look at my fairy walking my awesome little rainbow-colored polka dot skirt.
He just looked like an extra from the Fresh Prince in the 90s. What the hell?
Oh my God!
Sir, take the heels off your Air Force Ones. What are you doing?
It's NBC pushing this.
Part where I've been spending so much more time.
Oh my God!
Ew, I can't with that one.
No.
Ray kills me.
I'll skip through here, but I wanted to show you this is his art.
It's like the Fresh Prince group threw up on the 80s.
No, this guy's way worse than anything you can ever think of.
This is just theater kid shit. That's all this is. This isn't even. That's all.
That's like everything my mother told me not to wear to preschool.
And he writes poetry about how people
idiots.
In Texas, I just got it all. It was like you were the wrong religion.
Oh, and then he goes to his hometown of Bryan, Texas, and they have a pride there.
Because Texas is so evil, Because
Texas is so evil and backward.
Yeah.
Hey, anyway.
See, this is what happens when you don't bully the theater kids. They do stuff like this.
Hey, George is in the chat. What's up, George?
Mr. Zamaripa, yes. He popped on for a second, but I don't know if he was coming on
Still
the
wait. You guys know Alok did an article with another crazy tranner that was in a beard, and they were both complaining about how men wouldn't date them. And I'm thinking, oh yes, because you're this pristine, just picture of femininity. What the fuck? Why would any straight man want to date you? You're a dude in a dress.
No, that was a guy too, but he'd been.
Yes, they were both.
They were all three of them.
I
were
thought
guys.
that there was a third one who, like a female friend, who was
No,
like, "Why
he was
can't
also
my
a guy.
non-binary icon friends?"
Yeah, they were so. Was it Demi Lovato?
I've seen
All three
her
were men.
I've seen her 23 times live. I'm biggest fan. I met her tons of times. She came out as a gender goblin, last year, and I ripped up my poster.
Gender goblin, I love it.
Goodbye. No, I'm done. Also, Alok, he writes these publishes poetry about how people
Little
judge
girls
him
are
and
kinky.
harass.
Yes. Oh my
Wait,
god.
I want to hear what Mike has to say. Go on.
He writes these poems about how people harass him and judge him on the street because of his gender identity and his outfits, and it's like they harass you because you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your outfit's fucking ugly.
Well, it's not just that people are making fun of you because you're gender non-conforming. It's like a lot of this is this specific aesthetic of ugliness.
Yeah.
It's like you make a very concerted effort to make yourself look like a freak, and then you get upset when people treat you like a freak.
Yep.
Yeah. You look like a bowl of Jello, dude. We're gonna laugh at you.
That's actually called briar patching, which is something I learned from Mr. Josh Sockholm from the Disaffected podcast.
Briar patching done wrong.
Well, they're screaming, "Look at me," but don't look at me. They're just
exactly.
Well, they're saying, "Look at me," and then when you look at them in the wrong way, why are you looking at me like that?
How dare you?
Look at me. Why are
It's
you
more
looking?
like look at me and praise me because I am the Almighty.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, you can dress any way that you want, and most people really don't give a shit. They might laugh at you, or say, most of this harassment that we're talking about is someone going like, "Oh, you're looking good, sweetheart," that kind of thing, where it's clearly they're taking the piss out of them.
Look at that juicy booty.
No one actually wants to prevent that, but the thing is they really get upset when you have any reaction besides the sort of heaping of praise on it. It's like, look, you didn't invent this shit either. You think that gender bending is some sort of new and groundbreaking thing? Like,
Boy George,
it has been done
done
and done so much. It's been done to death. And no, the way that you're doing it isn't really that new and original.
It's not new.
It's ugly, and it's ugly.
Yes,
Well,
and it's ugly. So
apparently
these people have less gumption than 90s goth kids, because at least back then they dressed up all weird and no one cared, or people cared, but they didn't care. They didn't get offended, if someone made fun of them, or the emo the emo kids and all that sort of stuff. People made fun of them, people made videos making fun of them, but they didn't care. These people get so mad. They want to stand out. They want to be standing out in the crowd, but then when people notice, they're like, why are you noticing?
Well, it reminds me of when people say, "I don't see color," and people get offended that you don't see color. What the fuck? It doesn't make sense.
I'm emo still, and I think about it a lot, with gay shit. Remember, it was the attitude of "fuck the haters." If hoes are hating on you, all right, fuck you, you're lame as hell. Now, whew, not at all. And I would make fun of a local public. Are you kidding me? That's just
oh my.
That was our pastime, is just making fun of people. And making fun of each other and talking shit to each other. What happened to yo mama jokes?
Yes,
seriously.
I don't know.
I'm very much from the metal scene, so we just have a very don't give a fuck kind of attitude. And
this video, let's do it.
Let's do
it.
Interesting.
You can't use yo mama jokes anymore. It's yo non-gender conforming birthing person.
Breast chest feed, whatever they call it now.
No, it's
bleeding
not
parent.
It's chest
person jokes.
Bleeding parent.
Ready?
My pronouns are they.
Dead.
My pronouns, can't you tell?
Well, I'd rather know than assume. As Alok Badmanan says, gender is not what we look like to other people, it's what we know ourselves to be.
Gender is an array of things that relate to, differentiate,
No, it isn't.
and go beyond understandings of neutrality, femininity, and masculinity.
You can't look at someone and know their gender or pronouns in the same way that you can't look at someone and know their name.
You don't
Okay, that's enough, I think.
What?
But so this was tweeted out by LA United, their unified school district.
Yeah, they did. They did that shit.
Guys.
They did that shit.
This person making this little break the binary video, just as an indication.
That person is a man.
Ew.
Yeah, they LAUSD link that.
Some other
things do not work too.
men alongside, the same
Balls
shit.
and still do not match.
It's not
He was on
appropriate,
Dr.
right?
He was on Dr. Phil, right?
Do you want this person talking to your children about sex and gender?
He was on Dr. Phil with Matt Walsh.
Yes, he was. And he went and didn't him and his boyfriend, the female to male, go home and cry and then say how distraught they were and how much it hurt them.
They felt unsafe. Good.
They felt unsafe.
Oh,
dear. Clutch your pearls.
Right. He was the one with Matt Walsh on.
Yeah,
that was
they were
Dr.
on
Phil,
the
right?
Dr. Phil episode.
Yes.
I do have a big question, though. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. I do have a big question. So on that video in particular, it says, just because there's femininity and masculinity, how do you know which one is which? Because you don't know what a man and a woman is.
I mean, they have to be equated.
That's my biggest argument. Is like, if you don't know what a man and a woman is, how can you equate femininity and masculinity?
Yeah.
You can't. It's so postmodern. They've just taken the
whole
concepts.
point is to make it incoherent.
Their whole ideology is what I call
gloss over it
Ouroboros.
as if it's
The snake
coherent.
eating its own tail.
Yeah.
There's 5 different definitions and over time of gender. The one they're using, and they're combining like gender identity with it too. It's all bullshit. And it's like they're like, oh, this was always a thing, and I was like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, but even wanting a definition is subversive to them, and that's not a good thing.
100.
You're not supposed to ask for these things. If you don't know, you're basically supposed to parrot something, and you can tell when they're doing this too. They'll just be talking in like these glazed over eyes, and they're saying something that makes absolutely no sense or is completely circular, and everyone just smiles and nods. It's word salad.
Salad.
It's like saying the prayer of the faithful, and everyone just says it along, even though they don't know what the words mean. It's the same thing.
Well, all they're doing is pushing outdated gender stereotypes on all of us. I mean, according to them, I'm a man.
That's what I was just about to say. Is they're always talking about heteronormativity and all this stuff and like the stereotypes of gender, and it's like your entire thing is based upon that. How you present, trying to present according to stereotypical features of the common man or woman, depending what you're trying to present as. So, I mean, arguably, they're enforcing the most strict gender stereotypes, I would say, as opposed to, the way we were looking at it before all this stuff really came about, this ideology. It's just, you can have feminine men and you can have masculine women, and personalities vary. There are only 2 sexes, but there are just a multitude, an infinite amount of personalities. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Oh my God.
They're so blinded by their ideology, they don't even see how blatant their homophobia is. It's really terrifying, actually.
I don't know. It's just, I've never seen so many, I'm going to say it, women trying to pressure gay men into liking vagina, and then the other way around, well, the other way around was usually generally more common. I think it's just men in general.
Not anymore. With the 4,000% jump in the trans identities being young women because of societal pressures.
Now there's less lesbians.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's more just youth
groups.
They're
lesbians, but there's all these damaged lesbians.
Well, they want to opt out of womanhood. Who wouldn't? A lot of them are victims of SA. A lot of them have childhood trauma just from family relationships. So I want to opt out of being a woman too, but that's not the way the world works. But it's just really sad that I see them still like vehemently and aggressively just coming at gay men, and I just like, what the fuck are you doing? The things that you're saying are so disgusting. And then saying, well, I'm sorry to say it, well, I also can have anal sex. Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? Like a homosexual is sexually attracted to another.
All women have anuses. If it was
Thank you, right? Like what?
If it was just about having anal sex, we would be doing that with women because it would probably be
It's
It
about
was
the
like you
physique.
had-
It's about the demeanor.
Yeah.
It's about
The whole aura of
I'm
parts.
attracted
It's
to
about everything
part.
matches what I'm attracted to.
the
Every
smell of the
part of a
pheromones,
man.
everything.
Pheromones.
The
There you go.
smell,
That's
all
exactly
that
what I was
shit.
thinking.
Yeah.
It's the pheromone level.
It's
Yeah.
like for so long, I felt like we were dealing with these like, you know, cross-dress hoes, like these male lesbians, and then I was sitting there just like there's gonna be a giant like these like little autistic fucks who are transitioning and calling themselves gay men. There's gonna be a rise in them once they like, you know, become adults, and now it's like, holy shit.
And
And, like,
testosterone's a hell of a drug.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes, a lot of them are straight and they're on testosterone and they are attracted to men,
100%.
and then they pursue them like crazy. And it's
So we had Laura in here earlier who dropped out. I'm not totally sure what happened to her. We're gonna have to.
She was saying she had connection issues.
Yeah, I missed that too, and I was like, oh shit, she's gone. I noticed later. So that was what Laura went through. You know, she transitioned at 20. And was always very confused in her relationships with gay men and found herself more attracted to gay men, even though she was a heterosexual woman, didn't feel comfortable in her femaleness and her woman body, all this stuff. And then started to, I guess, get involved in these online communities, all this stuff, dealing with her trauma, and then starts to kind of, I guess, fetishize being gay, and then starts to think that she's a gay man.
Yeah, they have there's studies out now about it has to do with anime, autism, and anime consumption. It started in 2013 when the DSM-5 they made transvestic disorder from a male-only disorder to both male and female, because out of nowhere they were starting to see female cross-dressers, most of which were autistic, most of which were not cross-dressing for like paraphilic, like kind of like the men do, but more of like playing a character and like, you know, I'm my own boyfriend and some weird ass shit. And then a few years later, like I got these bitches on my fucking dating apps, yo. Oh my god. But then like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, so Laura's experience, from what I understand, did not come from anime, although that is interesting, and I imagine there's a bunch of that going on as well among her youth. But as far as I know, Laura wasn't into anime. But I think it's she, from what I remember, she had these very strong bonds with gay men who were good friends with hers, and then she started to develop feelings for them and that sort of thing. And then that on top of trauma and wanting physical touch and affection and not getting that from men and all that stuff, it's confusing shit. So I guess what I'm leading to is I sympathize. I do know that there are a lot of these folks who I think really are just generally confused and traumatized. I don't think they're all trying to be predators, you know what I mean, and like force gay men to sleep with them and be bad people. You know, Laura's not a bad person. She's a great person. She just went through something really crazy, and it messed with her to the point where she thought she had to change herself and remove her breasts and tried to become a man and attract gay men and that sort of thing. And later on realized it was a mistake, of course. And
In Italy right now, their research is showing a lot of it is like autistic, and also they call it a dipendente dalla pornografia, like a pornography addiction is fueling it, because they're seeing a giant increase in like these female to males, and most of them are autistic and straight. Like they're not really seeing like the lesbian transition like we're seeing here. And they're finding it is very linked with that, and also furryism, and stuff.
Furries.
Very comorbid with anthropomorphophilia.
Don't say the word, you might summon them. Might summon them.
You only said it once, it needs to be 3 times.
3 times.
Bro.
In the dark, in a mirror.
I still have to like mute that word on Twitter, because like once in a while something will happen, or I don't know. I think last time it was Gay Toad posted like a post about like stumbling upon Nazi furry Twitter or something, and I clicked that post and engaged with it. And for like a couple weeks straight, I just had random furry things popping up on my Twitter feed. One furry post. Summon them.
I'm gonna stop being a nerd after this, but you know, these furries are like, oh, sorry, I said the word. I'll stop. They said, oh, it's a fandom. It's not always a fetish. Yada yada yada. There was a study on it, a very professional one, that's found that 99% of the time of it is a paraphilic thing, a sexual thing. So they're a bunch of fucking lawyers in mascot costumes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obviously a sexual thing. And there's like furry porn.
Yes.
It's like a whole genre.
There's lots and lots of furry
So
porn.
speaking of furries, did you guys see the video of the little girl that got inside the dog cage with the guy who was doing puppy play?
Oh my god.
There's a video. I saw a picture.
Pull it up.
I'm like, there's
No,
something
there was a whole video.
I've seen it, Brent, it's freaking disturbing as hell.
I don't even know how much.
Terrible. It's terrible.
It's bad.
Little girl puppy play.
It's bad.
No, don't type that.
Don't Google it. Don't Google it.
It
It'll
was
be on
in-
another list.
Don't type that.
Media searching on Twitter.
Germany, Berlin, Germany. It was in. If that helps you.
See, I feel like I saw this post not that long ago, but I probably did
It was maybe about like a week ago that it really came out, and I had first seen it actually on Twitter. And I was dumbfounded, and then I started seeing it pop up on my TikTok, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It was like this little girl, and she was at a Pride festival, and it had a dude in a leather puppy play hat or mask, and then one inside of a cage. And the mom was encouraging the little girl to go up to the cage to pet the puppy, and then had the little girl go inside while the guy was walking them around inside the cage. It's gross.
It's
gross.
Well, why was that little girl there in the first place?
Thank you.
Thank you. But no, people, I can't even.
Comment
I can't
here
even.
from Elias.
With the gate, I cannot believe what Pride has turned into out of all these years. Like, I never thought Pride would turn into that.
This comment from Elias. Interesting take. Transgenderism as a maladaptive response to trauma. Honestly, I think that's what we're seeing.
In many cases, definitely.
A lot of it, yeah. I don't think there's a blanket answer for it, but there's a lot of different things that can kind of commingle and produce this, especially because a lot of it's cultural as well. So a lot of it is just people who are having trouble fitting in and are sort of desperate to latch on to something, and that's because it's a very hug box sort of community. And that's what gets me in a lot of trouble here, is because the sort of expectation with the woker sides of the community is that you should be accepting of these people because, well, if you're going to show empathy towards them and be understanding, well, you therefore have to affirm them because that's the only way you can support them, which is obviously misguided. But if you're telling, say, a young woman who's trying to escape her womanhood by latching on to this idea that she can opt out and become a man, and a gay man at that, like, not only is I'm not telling you can't do that to her. I'm just letting you know, like, it's not me giving you an order, right? I'm just trying to be nice to you by telling you the harsh truth.
So it's
like, don't jump off that cliff.
Yeah, you'll hurt yourself. The same thing as going after gay men and expecting, like, even all of these woke ones, like, look, there were probably some of them that are sleeping with them or what have you, but you hear the complaint very frequently that even the woke ones will, very, very woke in the streets, turf in the sheets, where they still won't give you the time of day otherwise, where it's like, is that really setting someone up for success or for happiness by, just to get two-faced responses from everyone and then get actually ignored physically?
I think it's this misconception too that caring and loving someone is all about telling them what they want to hear.
Exactly.
When it's not, that's not it at all. It is telling them what they need to hear. You need to be honest with the people you care about, because sometimes we see things that they're doing and ways they're behaving and stuff, and you got to point it out to them if you really care about them. You don't just affirm everything that someone is doing. It doesn't matter what it is, gender or any behavior or anything.
Seb was saying that they had an adult baby, 50-year-old man dressed as a little girl trying to play with children at the Berlin Pride.
Gross.
And I found this.
Yeah, that's the.
So I'm thinking of an analogy, and it's like an analogy of, I guess, giving candy to kids, right? It makes kids happy. It's going to bring a smile to their face. They will probably eat as much of it as you give them.
Joe Rogan react.
And they're going to love you when you keep giving them that candy. But is that really what they need? Is that really what is best for them? Is that give them optimal nutrition?
Ew, what the hell?
Yo! Isn't there somebody in the cabinet, Trump's cabinet, or Biden's cabinet, right?
That is our head of radioactive waste disposal.
He looks like radioactive waste. What the fuck?
Is he that fuck in the dress who poses
He looks
like
like
he
a
was
felon,
about to
that's for
die?
sure.
He is no wonder the laughing stock of the world. It is so embarrassing, dude.
It is quite embarrassing.
I have to disagree. We have a prime minister that likes to play Mr. Dress Up here with pretty much any culture except his own. So
you know what? You are right, Russell. Trudeau is giving us a run.
Brown and black face galore. I know.
I keep hoping that the spell that he has over the media is going to be broken by that terrible haircut that he got.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Because he's been such a media darling here, and any one of those scandals, among a few others that you guys probably didn't hear about that were more like the financial ones and things like that, they would have sunk any other politician, but the media loves him so much, and I'm sure that has nothing to do with the fact that he gave them kickbacks. Nothing to do.
Nothing to do with the bailout package of like $1
nothing.
billion. Nothing to do with the national subsidized media. Nothing to do with Katie
Nonsense.
Telford, astroturfing, our opinion pieces in our media. Nothing about that. Nope.
Yeah, but I really do hope that the haircut kind of breaks the spell and like makes them treat him like a normal person again, because there's got to be something going on there, like his Benjamin Button painting or something. Maybe it was the hair, right?
Well, I read an article today that 50% of people said they dislike him, like flat out.
Oh yeah,
dislike.
he's getting really hammered lately in the polls
for so many reasons. Like,
all right, tinfoil hat time though. Is he Castro's son or what?
Yes.
Yes.
Compare the photos.
Yeah, obviously. He looks so much like him. It's crazy.
It looks like it, and Pierre and Margaret Trudeau were not known to be. Well, especially Margaret. It was like very much the.
His parents were floozies.
Well, basically.
They were swingers.
I believe it. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is just some funny joke. I'm going to compare the photos," and then I'm like,
when you start to look into
and
it,
there was a visit. There is an article
little brother too.
that I can
Like
show you
Justin,
guys.
what was Justin Trudeau's little brother who passed away in like a skiing accident or something? He also looks a lot like Justin and also a lot like Fidel.
He doesn't look like Pierre. I don't think he does.
And I mean, Pierre has a very distinctive look.
He does.
Rather like someone who's been hit in the face with a shovel. Like,
oh my God, Adam.
It can't be replicated.
Attractive man.
Oh no, I'm talking about Pierre, like his father. Like,
right.
he was
His
not
quote unquote father.
Yes, the other former Prime Minister of Canada. Like,
I don't think he looks like him at all.
I don't think me either.
I don't think Trudeau looks like him.
Kaboom.
I don't see it.
I mean, he's balding too. This guy, Trudeau's got his hair.
Just looks evil. Like
he does have Sith vibes.
yeah. I mean, just ask the Western Canadians; they love Trudeau Senior. Wow. Anyone that name just inspires confidence in Western Canada.
It does.
Even more in Quebec. Quebec absolutely loves Trudeau Senior.
Why?
This isn't.
No, I'm joking. It's complete sarcasm.
It's complete sarcasm.
Look at this hair.
Oh my God.
It was in style, okay?
Oh my God, this must have been like 1973.
Yeah.
And now you know why his wife took advantage of swinger culture.
Right, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame her. I don't. Look at
Let's see, was it let's say Castro, Trudeau.
You get a picture of them next to each other.
There.
Hey Dad.
I don't know.
See, we need you put like a beard on Justin.
Maybe that's why he never grows one.
Maybe that's the
He
point.
looks a lot like his mom. He really takes after his mom.
Well, most politicians don't do the beard.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, look at this one.
Yeah, especially when you compare to the younger ones, it's like
Yes. When you look at young Fidel. Definitely.
They are strikingly similar.
Striking resemblance.
That's all I'm gonna say. You know,
We're gonna have our bank accounts frozen after this.
I know, right?
But you guys are screwed. Sorry, guys.
Freeland is
Well, I
already on.
wasn't going to until I was going to compare that to the Michael and Michelle Obama thing. Now my account will be frozen.
Oh, that's funny.
I've
that
heard
like-
that one. I find that one less convincing. I have to
What,
say.
that Michelle's a man?
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't think Michelle's a man. I think that's a lady.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
No,
girls,
it's just
the
a
girls
funny,
look like
stupid
both of them. Like,
conspiracy.
there's- I mean, not that that's even the only. Like, that one's a little ridiculous. She's a broad-shouldered woman. Like, that's it. Like,
She's a broad-shouldered woman.
She's a big lady. I mean, come on.
she is.
broad.
She's a handsome woman. She's handsome.
Yes.
I mean, Michelle Obama's pretty. I'll give her that.
Statuesque.
Statuesque.
She married a crazy motherfucker.
Okay, but like those hands though, like I'm not saying she's a man, but like those hands, I'm like,
Those man hands.
Wow.
Wasn't there a
Same.
Seinfeld episode for the man hands on the wall?
That's what you call a well-hung lesbian.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Look, I have my
Yeah.
handler.
Huge
I work my fingers out on that.
There's no complaint from the wives. Let's just say that.
That's how I build my finger strength.
Hey, see, there you go.
This is
Dexterity.
for lesbians.
Right.
You got to keep those Twitter fingers strong.
Yeah, that's my workout every day.
See, this is the lesbian content that we were missing.
Yeah, we need more lesbians on the show. Like, we're gonna do a separate episode with you guys. That's for sure. We'll
Yay!
more
Let's do it.
concentrated one. But we definitely need to discuss lesbian problems more on the show. We have not.
The lesbian hour.
We've got problems.
We got lots of problems, Eva. for
Lesbians
sure.
are addicted to problems. Let me just say that. If you think
Gay men,
We make our own problems.
talk to a couple
gay men
lesbians
have our
about
own
it.
too. Gay men definitely have our own particular problems.
Oh yeah.
Hey, but I am liking the fact that this is the first time in my lifetime, because I'm an old bitch, that I've seen gay men and lesbians come together over something so cohesively. So,
I said
amen to
that.
that.
Do it.
That's a silver lining there, I think. For sure.
Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
We're all healing the divide together.
that's
We
it.
are.
Absolutely, Adam.
It only
We're
works
doing
when
that.
we're not both interested in proving who the bigger victim is.
Yeah.
Boom.
I don't
Well,
think
I
that'll
think-
ever stop happening
Good point.
in a way. Because I'm sorry, gay men have no idea what it's like to be two menstruating lesbians that are married and cannot
That's
escape
true.
the house together.
Yeah, and
Nor would we like to have any idea.
yeah, and the other flip side of that,
You don't want to know.
You
the
don't want to
flip
know.
side of that
And
is
what you talking about?
lesbians and heterosexuals don't know what it's like to be in a testosterone relationship.
True. That's so true.
True.
Particular problems and things that arise in that type of pairing.
Very
Competition
true.
and all sorts of shit.
We'll compare notes.
Yeah, so it's definitely a unique experience, that's for sure.
You
Gays
wanna go
Against Groomers, Gays Against Groomers is what I was talking the other day, and part of something they're writing is what you said about gays and lesbians uniting and stuff. That like if there's something that gays and lesbians are good at historically, it is coming together for common causes to organize. And so this is what we're doing. And I just thought it was really nice to see that gays and lesbians are kind of doing this together because we need each other.
100.
Buys too. We won't leave the buys out. We see you guys.
Oh, right.
That's true. That's okay.
I'm a secret bisexual. I don't tell anyone. I don't identify as bisexual, but
Out.
there
Get
was
outta
a time.
It doesn't make you bisexual.
There was a time long ago where I tasted the forbidden fruit.
Tasted the forbidden.
Although I didn't actually taste it because I didn't do that part, but like, you know,
Same.
That is the gayest thing I've ever
silver
heard.
gay. I'm not a
You're
gold star
silver
gay.
It's like a mouth, but like between the legs. That's what it's like. I don't know.
It is kind of a.
You just hear that, that's
A
all.
sideways mouth.
Speaking and bi, like I have a female friend who's bi.
Teeth in there, Michael.
Sorry, what?
That's the best one.
There's no teeth in there, Michael.
I mean, I know. My tongue was in there. I would have felt the teeth. But my friend who said bi, she's bi, and she went from dating a man to dating a woman, and she was so upset she didn't have a manicure anymore because y'all can't have like pointy nails. And I was like, I never thought of that. Holy shit! Just figured I'd.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
No.
No.
So that's how we can tell lesbians. It's the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
No. That's how you can tell well-trained lesbians.
Well-trained lesbians. Interesting. I learned something today.
Because there's those lesbians out there, and I know I was one of them for a long time that wear the acrylics.
No. I don't need my
No.
uterus punctured. Thank you.
No.
Oh my god!
This is the content.
All right, I got to bounce, guys. Good talking with you.
Later,
Bye.
Russell. Join us
Bye.
later. How long are we going? We're going an hour.
I have another video.
Oh, I saw this earlier. Oh, shit.
Maybe
Didn't-
you guys. Maybe did you guys see this? I haven't seen,
Oh my god.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I love the problem glasses.
No.
this is terrible. Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
Is Miranda. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Licensed, guys. She's credentialed. She's an expert.
And today I want to talk about minor attracted persons.
Oh, fuck.
And I want to talk about
First of all,
Okay, I got to stick around for this one. Sorry.
Hey, Russell. Welcome back.
Necromancy.
Why talk about minor attracted person?
Oh shit!
You do. I read the Redux piece on this. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, so we're not even 15 seconds in, and we're like,
All right,
Well, first of all, this is their language, right? This is the attempt to rebrand child predators as a sexual orientation, right? And this
Just really quick, doesn't she look like the Pinhead from American Horror Story with that thing in the background of her too?
Oh yeah, it is creepy.
Never seen it.
Sorry. Carry on.
Persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture.
Because they prey on
And
children.
they should be. Stigmatize those fuckers. What?
Yep.
And most folks are making incorrect assumptions about them without actually.
Okay, wait. What possible incorrect assumption could we be making about child predators?
So I can already see their response would be is that, well, your assumption is that all of them offend, Brent, and act on their urges, and we need to sympathize with them more.
No. They're natural.
What is she? Hold on, we'll say.
And those assumptions create harm for an already marginalized population.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Alternatively, they protect children.
Please think of the predators.
I think it's
out
key
of
to
society. What?
It's very key to note that this person works as a counselor within the U.S. correctional system. So not only that, they are normalizing behavior that's led to incarceration. And I mean, all the research that I've done has indicated that sexual attraction in this nature cannot be cured. It can't be cured. It can't be fixed. And all programming relies solely on trying to basically convince the predator not to harm their prey. It has nothing to do with empathy, because these people can't feel empathy for their victims. They can pretend to, and they have a misguided idea of what empathy is towards their victims, but they actually can't feel legit empathy for their victims. I just wanted to say that.
Basically, there is
There is medication that can work, but right now it's not.
Put them on puberty blockers.
Well, people that have been so that I do agree there's some medication. However, there's plenty of cases of sex offenders who have been chemically castrated that still offend, because it's not a crime of sex, it's a crime of power. And the act of sex against the person is only their way of exhibiting power over them.
So wood chipper is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. That's the prescription I prescribe. You cut off all
Feet
limbs.
first.
Okay.
I'm like to say it.
You may have noticed that I'm using the term minor attracted persons, sometimes abbreviated to MAPS, instead of the more commonly used term pedophile. And I'm doing this,
which we recently sort of had a little discussion. We're not going to use pedophile anymore either, because pedophile means child lover. These people don't love kids. They want to eat them and consume them and destroy them. So I'm just going to say child predator, child rapist,
pedovore.
That works.
Pedovore is another alternative.
Child eaters.
But
Chomo. Yep.
because the term pedophile has moved from being a diagnostic label to being a judgmental, hurtful insult that we hurl at people in order to harm them.
What? You wouldn't want to hurt them, would you?
I do want to hurt them.
That
more ways than medieval times could ever imagine.
Recognizes that any label we might apply to a person is only part of who they are and doesn't.
Oh, it's only part.
I have a label. I have a label for these types of people, and it's called Skinner. So it's a incarceration term, Skinner, and the idea is that these people are skinning kids, and that, in my opinion, it adequately defines the behavior that they exhibit towards children. So yeah, let's use a term that accurately reflects they're skinning kids.
Amen.
Yeah, they're flaying them.
Yeah, they're totally stripping them of their outer protective coating, which
call
leaves them vulnerable.
They're kid flayers.
Also, this is
innocent,
messed up.
everything.
It's so psychologically not not okay. Because I mean, like, this is pedophilic disorder, and that a lot of people, if they suffer from it, like, you can't just sit there and say, oh, we're not going to use these words and say this, even though it is a disease. It's just they're not helping anyone. They're just enabling. I don't fucking like this bitch.
That's a good summary right there. Just leave it there.
I mean, I don't think we need to really like watch the whole thing, but
well, I mean, it's like what you said, Brent. They're trying to normalize this new language. They want to make it sound a little more bubbly and nice.
Well, you have to remember, this person is not simply just an activist on TikTok, just spouting something out of their mouth to appease their base and prove that they're so progressive that they're willing to wander into the most awful territory possible. This person is a licensed therapist, and this is the way that they're talking. There's no empathy here for the actual victims.
Never.
And the victims, it needs to be the focus, because the victims are the ones that have to live for the rest of their lives destroyed by these people who are just looking to get their rocks off, to satisfy their carnal urges. And so we really have to put a focus on the victims and supporting victims and ensuring that this sort of thing doesn't become part of the mainstream culture. Because, I mean, I talked it over with Dan and Brent in a whole other episode. These acts destroy families from the inside out. And they don't recover. They do not recover. They simply have to try to manage for the rest of their lives. And it's not simply just the victim, it's the entire family.
So I'm going to chime in real quick. I know a couple of you I'm in group chats with, so I've kind of shared my story. I've been an SA victim my entire life, starting at 5 years old. I would like to have a very few choice words that involve things that are not words with these people. They literally destroyed my life. I was a rape victim at 5 for 3.5 months over the course of a summer while my mom was at work, and I was being entrusted by my cousin. And there is no word on this earth that could justify somebody doing that to a child. And I'm sorry, I do not want to be inclusive of your maps. I will never be inclusive of your I can't help it. When you're an adult and you're doing things to children that should not be done to children, talked about to children, then children should not be anywhere near this. Because I know for a matter of fact, it messed my life up a lot. I've been diagnosed with severe PTSD. I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I also have bipolar and ADHD. Let's just go throw a couple more things in there. But just because this stuff happened to me as a child, it doesn't just affect them for that moment in time. And I don't understand in what right mind these people could actually think that, oh, I can't help it. It's like being gay, which she does go on to say in the video, which really pissed me off, is that we can correlate that to homosexuality. You're born this way. You can't help it. No, you can fucking help it. You can help it. You can help not sexually abusing a child. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the way this is like, I mean, this specifically, this point is not my field. I'm neuropsych. The way it works is a paraphilia turns into a paraphilic disorder. So where, like, voyeurism into voyeuristic disorder. When it turns into a disorder, it's on your mind all the time. It is taking over your life, and you can't just stop thinking about it. You have to go to therapy. Kind of like if there's a giant bright light shining in your face to kind of like turn down and dim it a little bit, there's some medication that can work for it. But the notion that they love, like, this is an attraction, or the notion that, oh, I can't help it, this is how I naturally am. No, and it is a ticking time bomb. It is. They say, oh no, not all of them offend. They will if you keep enabling it. It's so fucked. And I don't get, she's a licensed therapist. That's not EPA guidelines. Like, that shit, that's like, I'm so, like, I was shocked.
There's a lot of alcohol. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Michael. There's a lot of alcoholics in the world that love alcohol, but they know that when they're on alcohol, they do bad things. So therefore, they have to curb their urges, right? There's a lot of drug addicts that do the same thing because they know that it's a destructive behavior, and they have to curb those urges. What is the difference?
It is not.
What is the difference?
It is
curb
not.
your urges, because what you're doing to other people doesn't just affect you.
Yeah, it's like how people
I just got really heated up.
if people are attracted to men or women, but that's not what this is. They're not attracted to minors. It is a arousal to the idea of the vulnerability of a child and the that I could possibly hurt this person. It's related to like flashing, like a frauderistic disorder. They get the out of like making the person scream and shocking the person and hurting them. So like it's so fucked that what they're saying, because it's just not true. And there are
it goes back to what Russell said. It's power. It has to do with power for these people.
And the thing that bothers me too is when they say non-offending. Non-offending may mean that individual hasn't offended and actually done the act themselves, but it doesn't mean they haven't consumed child porn.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're not informed with people that have. And that's it's never a victimless crime. This whole thing, it's a trickle down.
That's true.
Well, even if this is something that could be sort of treated better or what have you, the idea that we should destigmatize this, no, fuck
Hell
you,
no.
I'm not destigmatizing this. No way in hell. It stays stigmatized, and we put more stigma on that, shall we? Some things need
100.
more. This is one of them, and kitty diddling is one of them.
Yeah.
Well,
So, like,
if you let these therapists like make this into a sexual orientation, which they're trying, then suddenly all the laws and protections we have for sexual orientation would apply to them.
Yep.
And they're really trying to push this.
That's what they
And
want.
guess who's getting thrown under the bus for all of it? We are.
Yep.
The homos. Yep.
That's
why we're here.
They're going to get away from being called pedophiles.
Exactly.
And now we're trying to like usher them into our fucking society. No, screw you. Go die in Antarctica. You all
We're
belong
literally
there.
we're going backwards. We've like come full circle.
The pendulum is like swung
Yeah.
so far that now like the fact that we had to work so hard to get separated from the creepos and pedos, and now it's like they're coming right back in.
Yeah,
It's
and
like-
and homophobes. And now we're inviting homophobes into the community.
too.
We're now
That
taking over the community and saying, you know, you have to take this lady dick, or you have to touch this man vagina, or you are a bigot.
I went out with a guy in 2020 February, and this person was a female. It lasted 4 minutes. And
Oh, God.
Yeah, I peeped when then. They didn't look like his internet pictures. I never told this story on like the internet before, but yeah, this person thought maybe that I wouldn't notice or some shit. He sat down, hey, bullshitted for like 2 minutes, and I just said, "Are you?" And then it froze in my head. I was like, "Michael, just fucking say it." And I said, "Female." And then he was like, had that like weird ass fucking tranny voice, and he was like, identify as that. And I just put him up. I said, "You see how this is awkward? Like how this is like not fun for either of us. This is like weird. Like I'm just not doing this. I just don't do this." And then I kind of like left, and then we got swallowed whole by the flu season, and I spent the entire like 2 years in my room sitting there and following J.K. Rowling. That was
that your
point.
peak trans moment?
Yeah, I peaked. That was what peaked me. I just said.
Yep.
All right, guys, I do got to get going now. I'm getting a look now of why the hell aren't you at the kitchen table right now? So have a good night, everyone.
Take care, Russ.
Russell's
Also-
so based.
Do you guys know that queer theory is full of child abuse?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
based
waiting-
on child abuse.
I'm writing about that for Gays Against Groomers. We're writing a public comment about a bill, but when you have to affirm a child's identity for LGBTQ+, one of those things is Q, which could mean anything. And I'm gonna discuss a lot of how it's child abuse. It's all about breaking down the boundaries between man and women, and then eventually one of those boundaries is adult and child. They believe that the age of consent is a Victorian social construct that is essentially oppressive. I mean, Michel Foucault, the guy who he campaigned to lower the consent in France. It was 15. That's not young enough for you, you sick fuck. Yeah, that's worrisome. Look, we say, oh, they're going to add it to the acronym. It's the Q. We got
How
to...
do we stop adding shit to the fucking alphabet mafia anagram and just take it back to the LGB and T, who is in
B, or we can be the L's and the B's and the G's, and once in a while we come and we fucking hang out and we talk. You know, it's like,
well, and that's the thing. That's what we used to
or
do.
we can just have no groups and be fucking individuals like we all the fuck are.
That's
but
crazy.
what it comes down to is like, and we were discussing this a bit earlier. It's like a lesbian's experience is very different from a gay man.
Just what we're saying.
From someone who has dysphoria, right, which is very different from someone bisexual. Those are all different experiences. We're not the same. So there's a lot of forced teaming happening with this woke shit, the mainstream version of this.
Yeah. Not one of us is a monolith, for one thing. We don't all think the same. And secondly, like, you can even just divide us in half at this point, because you have the more conservative leaning gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans community that we're in. Me and my wife, I'm not saying everybody is in this Zoom, and then you have the extra woke, anything goes, fucking Sodom and Gomorrah side that I just can't even, I can't even believe the things that they think are normal and that they normalize. So it's like there's already this division, and there has been forever. I mean, my peak was in like 2015 when I got told I deserved to be hate fucked because I wouldn't take lady dick.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a long time coming that there's been a breakdown in this community forever. It has not been cohesive forever. Yeah. So I just think that we need to just drop these group ideologies in general and stop the group think. Everybody's an individual, and okay, I sleep with women. Ooh, you sleep with women too? Cool. Like, let's let the day go on. It's not that big a deal. It's the least interesting thing about me.
Yeah.
And just what else do you do? Like, what else is there about you besides?
Yeah, it's the least interesting about me is that I'm gay. That's not everything.
I'm just going to chime in, but I really hate how like mainstream people or just normal people out in the world feel like they have to validate their wokeness or that they're accepting of us. Like this guy at work, I was having a conversation and he was just like, "Oh, by the way, I'm totally cool with like
I'm an ally.
My sister-in-law XYZ," and I'm just like, the least interesting about me is who I thought.
Sure.
I was like, I'm really cool. I'm a rave, like old ass fucking rave bitch who loves all different types of music, and yeah, that's the least interesting thing is who I have sex with.
Yeah, I've always hated that they have to like show you that they're so woke, and like if somebody ever assumed that I had a boyfriend, they would apologize to me so bad if I was like, no, actually I have a girlfriend, I have a partner. They'd be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
That's okay.
like,
most
people
are. I'm so cool with the fact that you're straight. You know, I'm an ally to the straight people, and I'm really happy that you like putting your dick inside vagina. Like, I'm totally there. I understand you, and I love you for that.
I find it kind of gross, but as long as you don't hit on me, we're good.
That too.
I mean, I love but I work. I look like a butch bitch.
I'm kind of feeling a little bad for straight people these days. I'm not gonna lie. It is.
I'm feeling bad for white people and straight people in general.
It's cool and hip and trendy to be LGBT, and this is why I think so many of these straights are trying to become like queer, and they're straight with extra steps, is what Brent calls it, and it's just like
it is straight with extra steps for sure.
Yeah, and you see all these
and cool and in the new Vogue hip club. It's not cool to be straight. That's boring. And I think that's how a lot of them are kind of feeling now. They're looking at the culture around them and they're feeling like, well, shit, I'm just this old fuddy-duddy, like, old model of human.
We're gay now, yeah.
I'm this old model of human, and there's all these,
and
like,
South Park
queer models.
South Park called this in 2003.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Dan, it's only cool. It's only cool to be gay now because they didn't have to deal with the struggle part of it. Yes. Like, I'm 44. I had to deal with the struggle part. I got thrown in a paddy wagon twice fighting for my marriage equality. But these kids came into ready-made progress. They sit on our shoulders and they shit on our heads.
Because I have nothing to complain about.
So
they have no fight to fight.
This leads me into something actually. I did want to go into this topic, and so you kind of led us right into it. But this new myth that seems to have arisen, that Stonewall and the whole, LGBT, LGBT rights and all that stuff was at the helm of it, were trans black women.
No,
which is bullshit.
fight.
Tomboys.
All the fucking time. No one who works there believes that. No one who hangs out there believes that. It's a bullshit. I don't know if you ever go to Stonewall. It kind of fucking sucks, but it's like a novelty thing. Apparently, it's like
No, we don't go.
Owned by the fucking mob. It's next to the piano bar. But like, what I was kind of trying to say is like this whole thing with everyone wanting to be gay or this. It's so fucked because you have these articles like 40% of youth identifies blah blah blah, and then you actually look at like the fucking numbers and like the words and stuff. The amount of gays and lesbians has not increased since they started measuring it.
That's like 1%
because everybody's transing.
Yeah.
But you got all these queer fucks who are just straight people, and like you have this narrative. It's so crazy, and I'm like, get away from us. Like we need to.
Well, yeah, queer is anything and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I stubbed my toe, I got a bruise. I'm part of the LGBT. What?
Queer heterosexuality is in queer theory. Judith Butler says exists. Straight people can be queer.
Don't say her name here.
Oh, that's
Don't say it. Don't summon the devil.
Don't say it 3 times.
Should we explain who Judith Butler is?
Mary shall not be bloody today.
You want to explain who Judith Butler is?
The Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
Well, she argued famously that incest isn't always bad.
And I argue that
she was an acolyte of Michel Foucault, so of course.
Do you want your kids to have 3 eyes and a tail? Like,
I argue that she's a sick fuck. And her whole ideology is Foucaultianism and Freud, who was also a fucking child abuser. Like, denormalize.
See a common theme here.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Normalize her. They. Them think she's a.
Yeah, so I think we want to do some interesting little things. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. Speaking of local activity. So, like, you know, all this stuff kind of like drives us crazy. Like, what can we do to fight back? Well, you could go to a local drag queen story hour maybe and like cause a ruckus.
oh, good Lord.
So this
We
one,
can offer hot dogs.
Oh my god, look at the dragon with the face shield on. I am fucking dead right now.
It's too bad it's not opaque.
exactly.
Oh my god, this is peak clown world shit.
Oh my god.
It is. It's like it's a dystopian nightmare, and it's real. These are onion headlines, and they're real.
It's like a 90 that my grandma was 80s like this.
If you go into the description here, it says that this was a thing for neurodiverse kids. So this is going to be kids on the autistic spectrum.
It's the most vulnerable to the trans ideology.
Perfect recruits.
Exactly.
Perfect recruits for this crap.
This makes my brain hurt. People make my brain hurt. I'm sorry.
I understand.
I tried to protest. I tried to protest. Okay. I tried to protest Drag Queen Story Hour in the Bronx. It was during, quote, Pride Week, and they asked me to leave. I was holding a sign that's like, this is not for kids. It was very tame, but I was sitting there and watching these like sick fucks cross-dressed, and I was like, wow, they're walking in, they're going to go perform for kids. This is disgusting.
This comment, low effort drag queen Crocs.
Oh my god, he's in Crocs, look.
He is in
Oh my god.
They look like sparkly Crocs.
Rhinestones.
I'm like almost tempted to like just disqualify that as drag because there's no heels.
Doesn't count.
It's a moo-moo.
That's a
wig and a moo-moo and a goddamn face shield.
Even her eyebrows.
That's Medea. That's not even drag.
Where's Tyler Perry? Where's Tyler Perry at?
Bedazzled Crocs. Oh my god.
The thing is, though, like, what other explanation is there for, like, what? No one can ever explain what the need or the benefit is for doing this for children. Even if we want to steel man this and say, like, okay, because look, I personally have nothing against drag. You know, drag can be fun if it's a good performer. It's a
I love drag.
It's fun, but it is not for kids.
No.
Just like burlesque is not for kids, and just like most stand-up comedy that gets, you know, in bars,
stand-up comedy, alcohol,
for kids,
DMT, firearms,
swearing, shit like that.
Well, speaking of that, you guys saw the video where it had not only the pole dancer kid, but the one that had the drag show performance where they flashed their wiener all over to these kids, and they all look disgusted. I'm like, okay, number one, you want to make it okay for kids to see drag? Maybe don't wear a thong. And number 2, maybe cover your drunken tuck and tape like most of them do. And number 3, kids don't belong there, period.
Yeah.
Like there's no acceptable situation in where I would take my child to a strip club. No. Which is basically what it is, a glorified strip club.
I brought this up a few times on the show, but the way I see it is even trying to like make a drag show family friendly completely defeats the point of it's not supposed to be nude, it's supposed to be bawdy, it's supposed to be offensive. If you want to water it down and make it family friendly, you're gonna have a boring fucking drag show. And if you make it family friendly, then why are kids there? Because I would feel uncomfortable watching a normal drag show and those jokes and those acts and having a kid next to me seeing them too. I would feel uncomfortable. It would ruin my experience. I don't understand how it doesn't ruin other people's experiences.
I'm just going to interject with one thing because this is important to all of us, I'm sure. My friend lives in Georgia, and of course, she's still a lefty, and which is fine, whatever. I don't care what side anybody lands on, but she lives in Georgia. It's super fan. She's actually straight, but super fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, goes to all the drag cons and all that stuff. Well, apparently this last weekend, she actually went to a drag performance in Georgia, and she had DM'd me that there was more children there than adults almost, but that the drag queens at that particular bar were so pissed that they spoke up and actually said something about the amount of kids there, chewed out the parents, and refused to perform. I was
Finally.
This is what they need to do. And I said this on the last live stream. And if there are any drag queens who happen to be watching this, even though you're probably not, speak up. If you are in a situation where you are being told to perform in front of a child, if you want to save your reputation, you want to stop the shit that's happening right now from screwing all of us, say something. Say, I'm not performing. Until
it's the little things.
Yeah. Little things like that, you know, and just if they don't stand up for themselves, I think they're going to soon lose this privilege of even having drag shows. Because
correct. It's going to kill the whole art form.
I don't know about you guys, but I do worry about the backlash, and I can't even blame people anymore.
I'm seeing it even here in California. I'm seeing backlash already. Oh yeah, and people blaming all the shit that they're seeing in the mainstream media. Well, not even mainstream media, but they're watching Fox News 24/7, or they're watching mostly alt conservative media, and they're blaming all of us for this shit. And it's just like, wait. Yeah. We don't say every straight pedo is a reflection of every straight person, so don't throw us into that pit either.
Yeah. But I do have to say, they've been separating us a lot
more.
Ever since Jamie came out with Gays Against Groomers, I feel like they've been separating us a lot more from that because they know that, like you say, we're not a monolith.
There have been a lot of us out here doing this, you know, talking about this stuff, saying these things, just making that line known, like, and just making people aware that, hey, we're not all like that, and we do want boundaries. We do think that our LGBT stuff and all that should stay in adult spaces, and it was fine like that. Like, I don't understand why we're walking things back like this, because that's what we're doing by dissolving the boundaries. We're walking things back, and we're going to create this backlash. Like, I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing more gay bashing and things like that happening.
That's what I'm afraid of too, but I do see that coming, and unfortunately, that it has become very regressive, and all of the things that I know I fought for are going down the shitter, and I'm just watching it go down and looking at the way people with kids are looking at me because I'm obviously gay. And it's a shame. It really is a shame because we fought really hard against this, and we had gotten to where we needed to be. I feel like we achieved everything we needed to do. And then all of a sudden the TQ plus 2 spirit, everything attached to us, and it all went down the drain.
Spirit.
Well, it's frustrating because it wasn't for our sake that they put this stuff in schools. Like, you know, gay rights came long ago, and it wasn't. Yeah, you could tell kids some people have 2 mommies, 2 daddies, but that's how it went. And now they've attached it to sexuality, so they teach kids you have a gender identity and a sexual orientation, and it's ridiculous. Like, it wasn't for us; it's just for the TQ plus.
That too, and then it's very disturbing to watch so many of these adults that we see on Libs on TikTok that their main validation is from children, and you don't want to be called a groomer, but that's fucking groomer activity right there. It's insane.
Yeah, they're using these kids as their own little captive audiences, And, you know, if they explain this gender ideology to them, it's like, oh, well, you don't want to be, you know, like outdated. You don't want to have the old perspective. You don't want to be uncool. And of course, like, you know, for small children, like that, those, you know, that inclusiveness is very important to them. Like, it, you know, I remember back when I was a teenager, how important it was that I had some group that I could sort of belong in and identify with.
Right. And
when kids have problems, they don't have social, you know, they don't have good social skills, or they come from a troubled family. It's why it drives kids into gangs, and it's also going to drive kids, unfortunately, into this sort of like gender ideology. And we're seeing it happen already. They're already cutting the breasts off of healthy young girls who probably...
That's not happening, Brent. That's not happening.
So they say, right?
It's never happened.
God,
except for Dr. Gallagher on TikTok brags about it on a daily basis.
So many people. I encounter so many people online and on Twitter. Just they swear it's not happening. It's not happening.
La 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 la. They're like, nobody's performing bottom surgery on teenage boys. And then it's like, oh wait, Jazz Jennings, like 16-year-old,
literally on TV.
I feel so bad for her.
Oh,
and I will say her because she lived the majority of her life as a her, but I feel really bad. It caused so many mental illnesses beyond trans that she has such severe anxiety. Like she couldn't even go to college to start with. Like I feel so bad for this child.
And look at the mom. She's totally one of those trans chosen by proxy moms.
Or she tries to steal the show every time the camera's facing her.
Literally monetizing her child.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
This is mind-blowing. Like, how is this like legal?
It's her golden goose. It was literally the pageant mom, only with she had a son instead, but she didn't let that stop her.
Right.
And that would have been her fourth son?
Yeah.
Because Jazz doesn't have any sisters. Or
she has one sister, but she's older and she's not close to her mom. So I think that was her pet project. Nasty.
Okay, so back onto the mastectomy thing real quick. If it's okay to give a 12 or whatever teenager a mastectomy, why do plastic surgeons still make you wait until you're 21, 22 to have a breast enlargement because your tits are still growing?
Yeah, it's very interesting there.
It's a good question.
Sorry, that just popped into my head, and I was just like,
Yes, I mentioned at least 2 doctors on TikTok bragging about mutilating children on a daily basis.
Yeah, there's that one who's like, eat the teats or whatever.
Yeah,
The blonde one, yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Dr. Gallagher.
There's also there's a dude, like that pink-haired dude. I think he was on the What Is a Woman documentary, maybe? Or
oh yeah, another fell. Yeah.
Was it on the documentary? Or is it just viral? They're all blurring together in my head now.
Marcy Bowers? Are you talking about the trans one?
No, it's the dude. He's like a pink-haired guy.
Kind of like a mullet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And as soon as you challenge the ideology, I don't think I want to talk to you. I need to set face now.
I'm not saying this conversation. The interview was done.
Yeah. Okay. Does a chicken cry? Does a chicken commit suicide?
My second favorite part was the old man. Well, how do you know you're a man? I
guess I got a dick.
That guy was great. That guy, did you guys see the videos? He was harassed in his store, and he was like,
yeah.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, that old man was dope, dude.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the recent story about Hunter Biden and body dysmorphia?
No.
What?
Yes.
Are you going to add to it?
Is Hunter Biden trans now too?
He's sort of
Yes.
all these naked pictures he took of himself by saying he has an obsession with his penis due to body dysmorphia. Quote, I love to be reassured that my 9-inch very big penis was actually big. It may sound funny to you, but body dysmorphia, I know my penis is almost twice the size of an average man's penis, the First Son wrote July 12th, 2018. The note was found in the hard drive of a laptop and left at the Delaware computer store.
No.
That's so to garner leftist sympathy because they'll be like, oh, it's true. What a warrior. He's stunning and brave.
Oh, we'll just ignore all of your ties to Ukraine and China and, all the money you laundered as long as you have your big gun and your big penis.
And the crack.
At the time of his note, Hunter Biden was flush with cash from his work on behalf of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma and the Chinese energy company CEFC. At the time, Hunter had taken up residence at a 3-story penthouse in the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. The 3,200 square foot suite once housed Hollywood A-lister Clark Gable and Carol Lombard, according to the hotel website. 2 bedrooms, dining room, living room, 3 bathrooms, full bar, private rooftop. Night at the penthouse will set you back $4,000. A hotel rep said.
Wow. $4,000 a night. Holy
$4,000 a night. Must be nice to, have all that money, blowing it away.
Not on the super political topic, but did you guys see the report that came out that they don't know where 75% of the money we sent to Ukraine went?
Yes.
75%.
It went back to
Everyone was
Biden.
shocked.
It went back in Biden's pocket. I'm pretty sure that's where it went.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
completely shocked. Who could have seen this coming?
I imagine.
Okay.
It's
Bullshit. Bullshit.
it's funded Hunter Biden's penis reduction.
I think so.
Enlargement.
It's a very expensive surgery. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to wrap it up shortly. Do you guys have any final thoughts you want to throw out there? Also, let everybody know where they can find you. And also don't forget to DM me your preferred linkage. Yes.
And your preferred pronouns.
And your no, I don't care about your pronouns. Just your preferred linkage. Edit the description so that everybody's contact information is available below. We'll start with Mr. Michael.
Yeah, so this is my first podcast. YouTube, the thing, enjoyable. I think I'll try interrupting people a few times. Oops, I'll get better at that. But thanks for popping my podcast, Cherry. I appreciate it. It was worth it.
Same.
You did great.
We lost our virginity together, Michael.
The 3 of us.
It's a podcast orgy up in here.
Yeah, so we'll do a separate episode with all of you guys at some point because none of you have been on the show before yet. So, bam, that's 4 episodes right there. Bam, bam, bam. Unless you guys want to do separate ones, then that's 5 episodes right there. But
so many episodes.
We can have a couple on too. I don't think we've done that yet. We haven't interviewed a couple yet.
That's kinky.
Apparently, group orgies are the thing now. So, I mean.
We want monkeypox, so we're going to do it as a big group.
Oh my god. That's
homophobic bigotry. Oh my gosh. So Adam, they can find you at big_figget.
On the Twitter.
Yay, Adam.
Until they nuke you.
Until they ban or they mute me. I haven't done anything spicy for a little bit. I've just well, actually, no. Yeah.
Well, you've been spicy.
Yeah.
Muy caliente.
Yeah. I wake up one morning and I choose who I'm going to be violent against that day.
Sometimes you just wake up and you choose violence.
Well, and that's the thing though. It's I very much subscribe to and vibe with the Groucho Marx philosophy. You were talking about being an individualist. That's how I kind of maintain individuality is by tweeting things that make hamburgers out of people's sacred cows. Especially if I feel that a lot of people of that stripe are following me. Because I think that it's really important to be able to laugh at yourself. So the people who can't laugh at themselves, because I'll do it for myself too. Even my own name is the handle is kind of I'm a huge fag.
Love it.
Yeah, and completely. But if I tweet something and it's just a joke and you go ape shit on me, then they're okay, well there's the door. That's my favorite thing to do. So follow for spicy tweets. Get mad at me if you want, but I'll mute you. And let you scream into the void.
Only if we can make up later. Only if we can make up later.
Okay. I'll give you the monkeypox.
Give you the monkeypox.
Hey, but where can everyone find
thank
you?
you.
You're on the Twiddler too.
Eva.
Yes.
Eva.
Yes. I forgot to put my @ down there, but it's just @ my name _KURILOVA. And yeah, I have fun on there. I do spicy tweets. I also do a lot of writing that gets published in various places, and then I tweet that. So yeah, come follow me.
I love your tweets about sexism and stuff. Just saying.
Yeah. Well,
you have a
thank you
fan,
guys.
Eva.
You do have a fan already. He has not shut up about the fact that you've been on this podcast the whole time.
So you've been fangirling.
I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, we were some of the original TERFs in the movement, so you know.
Yeah.
I know.
OG turf.
Yeah. I'm very new. I'm
We're
very
happy to
new.
bring you guys together.
I have this flag on my wall of like the Labrys Axe lesbian flag. Just like I'm representing you guys.
You're an honorary lesbian, Michael.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on this video. Take the URL and plaster it everywhere across all of your social medias and just
I will.
tell everyone how I was talking to the audience, but totally feel free. Tell everyone how much of an awesome conversation this is. This Dangerous Rhetoric podcast is just so amazing. You must watch it.
Or if you hated it, tell us what you hated about it. We don't give a shit.
Yes, leave a
I for one
comment.
think it sucks.
Yes, John. Yes, hate watch us. That's the best. And then you can like start cutting up little things and doing react videos, and then also
Take us out of context, cancel us, all that shit.
Cancel us.
Just make sure to at mostly peaceful gay because she loved that shit.
Oh my gosh! All right, everybody, we're gonna turn it off here now. But thank you again. Bye bye.
Later, guys.
Bye.